Sup YouTube, Pensy241 here. I'm not sitting at my desk right now because my roommates are currently playing League of Legends, which I should be doing too. But instead I was out getting the last couple cards I needed for this trolley deck I'm going to be playing at the Alternate Universes iPad 2 tournament on Saturday. So of course, with the ban list, like most people, I was not satisfied at all. In fact, I was pretty pissed. So after testing a couple decks and then saying fuck it, I threw together Dragon Draw Exodia, which has proved to be fun, fairly consistent, and encompasses my feelings of how I just don't give a fuck about this format right now. So I just thought I'd share with you just kind of a cool, fun deck if you're looking for something to build in the meantime. So of course you got your kicker, you got your Exodia, the Forbidden One. He just kind of wins, even though he kind of sucks as a card. You don't want to draw him at all. Like, you want to make sure he's in your deck towards the end of the game, because having a bunch of dead Exodia pieces in hand and not being able to go on with your combo really sucks balls. 3 Royal Magical Library. This card is extremely good with the new card that came out in Photon Shockwave, 1 day apiece. You just bring him out and he's like your little mini hyper librarian. He just gets you free draws if you can get your combos going. 3 Blue-Eyes White Dragon. This card's good, not because he's a 3000 beat stick, but because you discard him and you draw cards. Everyone loves a plus. And then Blue-Eyes Toon Dragon, because I play Toon Table of Contents to mill through the deck. 3 White Stone of Legend. It's a 1-star tuner monster. If you don't know what this does, whenever it goes to the graveyard, you get to add a Blue-Eyes White Dragon to your hand, which is important because there is, if you're not familiar with the deck, then combo with other spell cards really shines. And then the 1 Debris Dragon, which is a tuner for, I guess I'll explain the spell cards now, which is Cards of Consonance, which is the big combo with this deck, is you go Cards of Consonance, which is you discard a Dragon-type tuner with 1000 or less attack and you draw 2 cards. So you pitch Whitestone Legend, and then you add a Blue-Eyes White Dragon to your hand from pitching Whitestone. And then if you have a trade-in in hand, which is you discard a level 8 monster to draw 2 cards, you just start going pluses out the wazoo, just drawing cards all over the place. If you have a Royal Magical Library on the field, you're getting cards out of that. 3 Toon Table of Contents to search out the Blue-Eyes Toon Dragon. It also gets a lot of counters for Library. 3 1 day apiece. Holy shit. This card is the underdog MVP of the week, of the year, because I never realized how broken this card is until I started playing this deck. It is literally, you open 3 1 day apiece, you go activate 1 day apiece, draw a card, your opponent draws a card, and then you go off with your combo, and then when you're in a tough spot, you just go, oh, okay, I have 1 day apiece on the field, I'm just going to take a break. Then next turn, go off with another combo, activate another 1 day apiece. Usually, the Exodia deck wins in 3 turns, no matter what the situation is, unless you open like 3 Blue-Eyes and like 3 Whitestone Legend, and then you go fuck me. But other than that, it takes 3 turns to win, and if you can activate all 3 of your 1 day pieces on separate turns, you're pretty much golden. 3 Upstart Goblins. This is just another simple 1-for-1 card, just to cycle through the deck a little more. I play the 1 Pot of Duality. I've gotten a lot of people say, hey, why don't you play 3 Pots of Duality? And it's because if I draw a second Pot of Duality in 1 turn, it's not good because I can't activate it. So the 1 Pot of Duality is so I, assume that I'm going to win in 1 turn. But it's a really good card in the deck. And I really enjoy it just because if you get stuck with like a Whitestone Legend in hand and like a Pot of Duality, like, your odds of ripping into a Cards of Consonance is really good. And then your quick plays, this deck wins during the end phase a lot. So, and it usually ends with you have to count the cards in your deck a lot, because when you activate your super rejuvenations and your hand destructions, you need to not deck out on your super rejuvenations. Like, I've had situations where I will activate a super rejuvenation early on in the turn to get a counter on library, and then I'll end up discarding too many dragon type monsters, and I'll go to end phase and I'll have 5 cards in deck, but I'll need to draw like 7 cards, and I'll deck out even if you do get all the Exodia pieces. If you deck out before you get before you can declare your victory with the Exodia pieces, then you lose. So it's very careful that you play these cards very carefully, but if you play them just right, you can draw exactly the number of cards that are left in your deck for a win. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Super Rejuvenation, when you activate it during the turn you activate this card, during the end phase, you draw a card for each dragon-type monster that was discarded from your hand or offered as tribute during the turn. So, just a tip, it does not work with hand destruction if you send, because hand destruction specifically sends dragon-type monsters from your hand to graveyard. And then 2 little techs I threw in, 1 reload. It's really good because what you can do is you get a bad hand, you set, if you open like 3 cards of consonants and 2 trade-ins and like a blue eyes, and you discard the blue eyes with trade-in, don't get anything else, you can set the cards of consonants and then reload, or set like a cards of consonant and then reload, and then hope you draw into a Whitestone Legend or a Debris Dragon. And I should also mention, I didn't spend enough time talking about Debris Dragon really, but the reason I have a lot of people will play like a Flamvel Guard in there, 2000 defense, 1-star normal monster, but I really like Debris Dragon just because if you get into like a really tight space, you can get back a Royal Magical Library and then overlay for Utopia and just sit on that for like 2 turns. Which is really good, so that's why I play the Debris Dragon. Then the last card I play is Dark Factory of Mass Production. This is probably my favorite card in the deck, just because it turns minuses into pluses, especially with hand destruction. Like, if you end up with a hand where you have, like, hand destruction and, like, 2 blue eyes or something like that, what you can do is you can go hand destruction, pitch the 2 blue eyes, and hand destruction I really don't like normally because it's a minus. You can go draw 2 cards, and then you can activate Dark Factory Mass Production to add your 2 blue eyes back into hand. So you turn that hand destruction, which would initially be a minus, into a neutral. So it's really good to play your combos right. You don't want to be left with less than 4 cards in hand, just because it makes it so that combos are hard to get off. But in general, the deck is fairly consistent, and if your opponent doesn't have Thunder King on the field first turn, generally you can play out of a lot of different things. Also, if you haven't noticed, my hair is orange. I lost a bet. And that's why my hair is the color of fire. Yeah. Sidetracked. But as long as your opponent doesn't have Thunder King first turn, you're really okay. And odds are your opponent is going to side in Thunder Kings game 2. So that's why I recommend if you're going to side deck anything, it's really hard to side things out. But if anything, side out like a the Debris Dragon and a Cards of Consonance, and side in 2 Hammer Shots, because what they do, it's basically fissure, it's basically smashing ground before attack monsters. Basically it just gets rid of the Thunder King while at the same time getting counters for your Royal Magical Library. So that's it. I'll probably do a tournament report afterwards, since it is going to be the first tournament of the new format, and I will let you guys know just exactly how that goes. So peace out.